so cold. I mean, I know you're all very excited to hear me talk, but, all right. Are you gonna time me?
Yeah.
Okay. You gonna tell me when I start?
You can start whenever you want.
Okay. Well, over the last 4 billion years, life has inhabited the Earth. Throughout that time, different organisms have had to adapt and change to their environments. To emphasize, without evolution, life established on Earth would not exist due to the primitive organisms not being able to adapt to their always changing environment. In this statement, Darwinism proves the irrefutable evidence to show how modern-day organisms came into existence is an incontrovertible fact and conclusion that has been proven to the past based on documents evidence from scientists. Charles Darwin was born in 1809. He did not start his life off thinking that he was going to be a scientist and change the world, but he did, because he traveled and he looked at the world and he observed and he saw that adaptation and that evolution was real. He went against the grain and went against scientists and went against social structures of the time to prove that there are different ideas in the world. Darwinism is not just a scientific theory, it is the escape for certain minds from the social constructs of the times that said that you have to believe in a God or else your ideas don't matter. Darwinism has been proven. It is a time-tested theory that has been provided with evidence and has been so close, supported by different ideas and different peoples throughout history. The idea of creationism is a very respectful one. There's nothing wrong with faith, and there's nothing wrong with a God. There's nothing wrong with creation and the idea that something more is out there, because it's a beautiful idea, but Darwinism provides facts, it provides scientific theory, and it provides observations to how organisms today came to be. You will find throughout our debate that Darwinism is irrefutable, that Darwinism is correct, and that creationism, while respectful, cannot go against the ideas, the facts throughout time. Throughout our points, we will discuss the different ways in which Darwinism has been proven since Darwin actually first went off in the 19th century. We will look at his different works, including The Origin of Species, and we will look at different things that scientists have been collecting for literally centuries, including the fossil records and even modern day experiments with different types of bacteria. And we will look at the human structures and see how we have changed throughout the years. You guys will find out as we go along that we have very strong arguments supporting Darwinism. And that's it. Facts are what we have. Time-tested theories. And while scientists have been wrong before, this is something to look at. Creationism is one thing, but Darwinism is a complete other. Changed the world forever when he went out, and those discoveries that he made will impact us as a society, as a species, until the end of time. When you take a look at the type of experiments that scientists have been doing since the 19th century when Darwin first went off. Oh, what's that?
You have 1 minute.
Okay, 1 minute. Cool. Well, honestly, I think I've gotten my point across to you judges to show that this is a debate of mutual respect, but we have evidence and we have facts, and I think you guys will really, truly side with us, because Darwin didn't die for nothing, and he didn't go off to the Galapagos for nothing. Yeah. So I hope you guys really enjoyed our arguments, and I hope you guys really see the amount of work that we put into this, because we really believe in Darwinism.
4 minutes, 47 seconds. Okay.
That was just me saying the same sentence over and over again.
Yeah, all right.
That's all right, guys.
Creationists. Are you supposed to clap?
Yeah, I know it's a class.
Okay.
All right, whenever you're ready, Lydia.
Both scientific and religious discourse throughout history shared an endeavor to answer the question of creation. Darwinism and Christian creationism are but two of many theories as to how modern-day organisms came into being, whether modern day refers to today or 2,000 years ago. Darwinism in its traditional interpretation does not have the most integrity, and is therefore not the most coherent of these theories. Creationism and Darwinism may not necessarily be seen as mutually exclusive of each other, and that being said, pointing to the flaws in Darwinist theory should be recognized as simply a critique of the theory itself, not as an automatic espousal of Christian creationism. Considering support from both scientific and mathematical and religious and enigmatic perspectives, Darwinism does not provide completely irrefutable evidence as to how modern-day organisms came into existence.
Okay, 53 seconds. Point 1, Darwinism. Okay.
All right. So as Sarah already said, Darwin changed the world. And I'm going to talk about how he changed the world with his findings on the Galapagos Islands. So he looked at finches, and he looked at the beaks of finches, and he saw that as time went on, natural selection occurred, and the finches with more blunt beaks died off, where the finches with sharper beaks lived longer. Natural selection shows immense clarity because species are more adapted to their environment and they will live on to reproduce, where species that are less adapted to their environment will die off quicker. In source F, Darwin talks about the origin of species, and he said that with all of the similarities he saw in the fossil records he gathered from the Galapagos Islands, it was almost impossible for all of the species to not somehow be related from a common ancestor, which proves and shows that all species come from other living species, and natural selection and Darwinism and evolution are how the world came to be.
1 minute, 18 seconds. Rebuttal?
Okay. You stated that he only used one beaks of finches, and he only used one species of finches. Is that correct? Do I question or do I just rebut? Sorry about this.
You just state. You don't
I
ask
just
any
state.
questions.
Awesome. And then you went off and you said that all other species will adapt to their environments, but yet Darwin was only in a tropical Galapagos island, and they adapted to that environment, but he did not do any experiments in other forms of environments. And just because a scientist changed the world's point of view with his theory, it does not automatically suggest that he is correct. Thank you very much.
42 seconds. Point 1, creationists.
Since the beginning of time, humans believed that the sun revolved around the earth. Humans used the Ptolemy model, geometry, and the finest tools in the world at that time to prove this to be true. For thousands of years, humans were positive that the sun revolved around the earth. Humans thought that it was inconceivable that the earth revolves around the sun. Then came Copernicus. with better telescopes, better tools at his disposal. The mere implication of this was revolutionary. Copernicus and his findings took the world out of a dark age of knowledge. With the theory of, and yes, I emphasize the theory of evolution, is merely a start, just as Ptolemy's theory was back then. How do we not know that we are living in a dark age of knowledge as well? The geocentric model was around for thousands of years. It took thousands of years to disprove it. Darwin's theory was only published a mere 158 years ago in The Origins of Species. We could still be thousands of years away from finding out how organisms really came around. We are just as ignorant as those who believed in the sun revolved around the earth. We are living in a dark age of knowledge, and we are still thousands of years away from finding the true way that organisms came to be. Around Darwin, Darwinism is merely a start, just as Ptolemy's geocentric model was a start back then. Thank you.
1 minute, 24 seconds. Rebuttal.
Oh, okay. So you said that evolution is only a theory, but this theory is time tested like many other theories such as gravity, but gravity is widely accepted and nobody's really questioning if the reason that we stay down to the earth is gravity because the facts are there. And if there was one piece of evidence that solidly disproved evolution, evolution wouldn't be a theory anymore. But there's all these questions about, oh, maybe this is why evolution is wrong. But there's no solid proof. And the proof is in the pudding, as many people say, okay? The people...
20 seconds.
Sorry, the people... Sorry, what did you say?
20 seconds. Now it's 15.
The people are changing and our bodies have evolved to what they are now, and that's how we know that evolution is true by the facts that we've seen today.
57 seconds. Okay, point two.
We have something to rebut against.
Point two.
Be sure to remind-
Darwinists.
Wow, David. Okay, you don't need to
No, me.
Okay, shh. Don't talk to each other. Let's get going. All right.
The controversial topic of creationism versus Darwinism has sparked much discourse. For centuries, man has debated over which theory is most logical, and the side of eloquence, in the end, always seems to be the victor. The theory of Darwinism, backed by a multitude of extensive evidence, proves how the organisms of today came to be. Fossil records have been used for as long as history has been recorded. The vast databases of tangible evidence act as the primary sources to proving the validity of Darwinism. On the Origin of Species, Darwin's most recognizable piece of work, mainly focuses on natural selection, but 2 chapters focus directly on fossils. The text reads as follows. On the affinities of extinct species to each other and to living species on the state of development of ancient forms of the succession of the same types within the same areas. Darwin describes here that through fossil evidence, different stages of evolution can be seen in the same species of organisms that lived in 2 different times. Today, technology plays a key role in enhancing the fossil record. Text from the source, Evidence from Evolution reads, advances in the dating of fossils and artifacts help determine the age of those remains, which contributes to the big picture of when different milestones of becoming human evolved. These technologies here it is shown, with advanced technologies today, fossils can be named and dated more accurately. These technologies also clearly show the evolution of these once living organisms and what changes occurred as the species evolved over time, as well as when these changes occurred. A method to scientifically collecting data, more specifically determining the age of fossils, is done through carbon dating. The measurement of the beta decay activity of a buried fossil provides a measurement of the elapsed time since the organism was alive and exposed to the atmosphere. This measurement of time allows scientists to understand when evolution in an organism occurred because they know when it was last in contact with the atmosphere. This method is just another one of the many methods connected with the fossil record and the extensive amount of evidence that contributes to the bigger picture of how Darwinism is the explanation, the only explanation for why organisms are the way they are today.
2 minutes exactly. You can do it again. Rebuttal?
As for the fossil record, there are actually many gaps in the fossil record that never really show a transitional organism from one fully formed organism to another. Evolution claims a smooth transition between one organism to another as one evolves into another. But if in the billions of fossils that have been uncovered, there is not one that can be seen as a transitional organism, you can't really prove that there are any that exist.
20 seconds.
Thus, a common creator is just as plausible as a common ancestor.
In the last rebuttal, Ms. Percy stated that the geocentric stated...
No, nothing.
Okay. Also, she stated that humans have evolved in our history, which there is no data to back that up. And also, back
5
in
seconds.
the day, the geocentric model was backed up by geometry and telescopes, but they did not have the sufficient technology to prove the heliocentric model.
Okay, 1 minute. All right. All right. Okay, yeah, you guys can actually, but that's okay. Yeah, not right now.
But you can rebut to rebut.
Next person to rebut, rebut to what he
Yep, yep. Okay, point 2, creationism.
So there are some people who believe that it's impossible to act as an arbiter between the debate between creationism and Darwinism. However, there are some scientific studies which discuss why beings have evolved while others have obviously been altered by a plan or purpose. Source C discusses how an unusual shaped pebble or an arrowhead came from some same material. However, the arrowhead, was created with a specific purpose in mind. This can be related to evolution of animals because some organisms were created with a specific plan in mind. And even if the creator cannot be seen, it doesn't mean that it can't happen. And then if evolution were happening today, we would have be able to see organisms that would go through the fluid progression of evolution. But there's none such organisms today. And then some may say that evolution simply takes too long. However, with the fossils, there's no transitional organisms that have been found in the fossils to show this evolution. Although complete objectivity remains unattainable, thinking of creationism and Darwinism in terms of science compares the two theories rather than forcing contention between the two.
Okay, 1 minute, 7 seconds. Rebuttal.
So one point they made is that that we have never directly seen a species evolve, and there are multiple reasons why, but there actually have been evidence of macroevolution, such as Hugo de Vries in 1886 discovering a new variant of his evening primrose that had developed a completely new set of chromosomes and thus would not mate with other members of its species. Furthermore, speciation as a whole is a really rare, and it takes hundreds of years to simply occur. Not to mention that many scientists disagree simply what a species is, even though there are some commonly agreed used definitions.